All right. Hello, everyone. How you doing? I'm here with Dr. Perry Barnhill. I think third time is a charm. I had to change the word a dollar sign. Yeah, now it's working. I had to change that. I had the word but in there. That violated the terms of service of Facebook. That offended someone apparently. And then now I use Dr. Perry's recommendation of hiney. So thank you for that recommendation, Dr. Perry Barnhill. Not
Got
only do you solve problems for chiropractors, you solve problems for chiropractors on Facebook Live.
it. Yeah, it's a new one for me.
That's pretty good. All right, let me grab this and share this real quick, and then we'll let some people jump on here, and then we'll get this going. And for those of you who don't know who Dr. Perry Barnhill is, I'll tell you all about him because he's a good dude to know, and he's going to be coming out to our upcoming Impact event in 2 weeks. Which thanks again for coming out and doing that. It's always awesome to have you out here.
Thank you. Enjoy it.
Fearless
Learn a lot too.
Awesome. Okay, here we go. So almost ready. I'm just posting this up so we can get some of your audience in on this too, live now. And then I'm going to go throw this in over on my page too, Functional Movement for Chiropractors. And live now. And one more. There's probably a way to do this a little more sophisticated than me manually doing this, but, and one more. Live now. Okay, cool. Let's get rolling. So everyone, my name is Dr. Todd Pickman from Move Now University, and I am on with Dr. Perry Barnhill from Fearless Chiropractor. And I met Dr. Perry, it's probably been about 3 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, at least, maybe longer.
Okay. So let's just say it's three plus years ago. Dr. Perry actually got a hold of one of our podcast episodes, and he sent me a nice email saying, hey, I've work with all these different chiropractors, and it's nice to see someone who's teaching stuff that is compliant and ethical, and just wrote a nice message. And I said, well, that's really nice. And I wrote something back, and then I invited Dr. Perry to be on one of our podcasts, and then we became friends. And then I invited him out to our second Impact event back in February 2018, I think. And then you came out and you taught there, and everyone loved it. You've been working with a bunch of Move Now University doctors on top of your normal clientele, and now you're full-time doing this. So tell us all a little bit about what you're doing. And I've heard your story of how you got into this, but I think it's a cool story to share. So if you want to share that and let everyone know of why you do what you do, that'd be great.
Yeah, well, as I look back now, it's like, it's cool now, but when I was going through it, it was like the most horrific thing I had certainly in business experience and to a degree in my personal life too, because it just turned everything upside down. Basically what happened was I went through an audit about 10 years ago, and it scared the daylights out of me. I mean, these insurance companies are absolutely blanking relentless. And the thing is I had so much fear because I honestly did not know what to do, how to respond. I didn't know why they were necessary. I mean, they told me why they were coming after me, basically, you're not using the right code, you're not doing this right, your treatment plan. I mean, the classic, things they'll say that we're doing wrong as chiropractors. And it doesn't mean we're doing them wrong. Remember, one of the biggest revenue sources for insurance companies is recoupment of provider money that they've already paid us. So anyways, really long story short, one time I'm in my office, I look outside, and it's just before about to open up around 9 o'clock in the morning. And we know who's coming in the office in regards to, I always looked at the schedule. I know who was coming in. I never scheduled new patients right off the bat in the morning. It just wasn't the appropriate time for them. And I was like, who are those two people sitting out in that car? It's like they're waiting for us to unlock the doors. And my staff, we didn't know who it was. I thought, oh, okay, maybe someone's just going to come in and talk to us or inquire about a new patient or something like that. And we opened the door, and these two people, they literally come flying in. They tried to get past my friend. I'm like, hold on, who are you? And they're like, hey, we're so-and-so from this particular insurance company. We're here to audit you. And I said, well, hold on a second. We didn't even know you were coming. You were supposed to set up a time. And most of us have we have no idea what our actual rights are, in regards to the insurance companies, whether you're in network or out of network. and they can vary to some degree. But basically, I was in network with this company, and they can still come if you're at a network. I mean, there's some criteria, but within the contract, they're supposed to give you a 5 days heads up, and they didn't do that. And by this point, I'd had an attorney because I was so lost paying these huge dollars in attorneys. Not to mention my practice decreased probably because this audit doesn't happen overnight, right? It goes on and on and on and on and on, and you just keep getting broke down. And I went from a very, very busy office down to about, embarrassing to say, but like 25 patients a week, where I used to see, 200 a week on average for years and years and years and years. So it was destroying me mentally. And back to when those people were coming to my office to do the audit, I mean, I kindly asked them to go. They weren't happy. This lady throws down her business card and she says, "You'll be hearing from us." I was like, oh my God. And I'm literally freaking out, right? So what I remember is I looked at her card, and on the end of her credentials were these funky credentials, CPC. And I didn't know what it was, because I'm thinking, you know what? How do they know more than I do about this stuff? I mean, I went to all this college, and, I've been a chiropractor at that time for like 12 years, I think it was, thinking, I just don't understand what they're looking for. Why am I doing things wrong? I'm doing the things the way I was taught to do things. And it stood for Certified Professional Coder. And that's when the light bulb or the energy came on inside of me. It was like, you know what? I'm not just going to lie down anymore. If I can't beat them, I'm going to join them, and I'm going to become one of them, not to ever work for them, but one to help myself. So I got the Certified Professional Coder. And I also realized that most of these auditors, that's the credential that a lot of them have, but some of them had others. And I decided, you know what? I need to be better than most of them. I need to know more than they do, right? On top of what I already knew as a chiropractor. So that's when I decided I got the CPMA, which is Certified Professional Medical Auditor, take it a step further, right? Then I got CPCO, which is Certified Professional Compliance Officer. And then I got another one, Certified HIPAA Privacy and Security Expert, because I know one thing. It's kind of like with us in practice, right? Nobody realizes what a chiropractor goes through unless you are a chiropractor. I mean, your wife can relate, or your spouse or something like that. They can relate to a degree, but no one knows it until they walk in our shoes. And I also felt the same way. It's like, if I really want to, and this has been my motto ever since, it's protect, educate, and defend chiropractors, so they never go through what I did. Or if they do end up going through what I did, I can help them and guide them along the way. So I took all their classes, all the same exams. I do all the same continuing education credits, throughout the year. So I know what they're thinking, because I know what they're taught. And so when it comes time for an audit or a review or anything like that, I know exactly where they're going with it. Just like as you and I as chiropractors, when you talk about chiropractic and about practice, it's like, oh yeah, been there, done that. I get it.
Sure.
So that sent me on my mission.
Yeah, no, awesome. And that's a powerful story. And that obviously is what's driven your purpose. And for everyone who's watching this in the audience, what Dr. Perry is not saying is wait till you get into a problem and then call him up for him to help you. Instead, he's put together a program called Fearless Chiropractor of helping you along the way, so you stay out of these problems, helping you be compliant, making sure your documentation is all set, which is so congruent with what we do. Because in Move Now Chiropractor, in Move Now University, Move Now Chiropractors is the Facebook group that we're in. One of the Facebook groups that this is live in right now, is we share our note macros, and I've fine-tuned them from previous compliance guys we work with, and then from insight that Dr. Perry Barnhill has taught us. We've tweaked some things in our notes and our documentation and made sure we have all our ducks in a row. And so the reason that our systems are set up in a certain way is so that we are beyond reproach. So when something happens, we can say, oh, you want to look at our notes? Here you go. Have fun. Right. And then they look through them and they go, holy crap, this is like the most detailed, best documentation I've ever seen. And that's what we're trying to have happen, so that we don't have to put all that stress and energy into like after we have a problem. Right.
Oh yeah. It's kind of like prevention is the key, kind of what we do as chiropractors too. Not only do we want to help get things better, but we want to prevent them from happening in the future. And that's the same thing when it comes to insurance companies, audits, and the scary as hell HIPAA, the Office of Civil Rights. You got to have these things in place, because if you do, even if it's not that great, the outcome will still be better than if you'd had nothing. And again, it's not always about having the perfect note, right? I mean, because the perfect note doesn't exist. And the reason I say that is because it's in the eyes of the beholder.
Yeah,
The
they're always going
auditor
to pick
looking
something
at
apart with it. Sure.
yeah.
Right.
But if it's defensible, that's what's important. Having a note that we can at least defend, or we can appeal in an audit and beat them up on their end. It makes it a hell of a lot easier.
And something else to stress as well that I think a lot of us chiropractors don't really understand or realize is that the whole HIPAA thing of having HIPAA officer, having a manual, all this, that's not optional. You have to have that. And if you don't have that, you get in major fines from the HIPAA police, right? And so it's like, if you don't have something like that set up, you have to go through the process of setting it up. As much as it's perceived as a pain in the butt, because it is, Dr. Perry helps make that painless. So he's helped us get that dialed in for our clinic. He helps us with the ongoing process, because it's not just you set up and you forget it. It's an ongoing process that you have to put a little bit of time and energy into. It's not a whole lot, but you have to do it ongoing so that if someone does come knocking, you can show them that you are doing everything you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, you know, as odd as it may sound, probably the biggest risk we have in practice is that HIPAA stuff. And what I mean by that is the consequences of not having it correct and done because of the fines that it could be potentially levied against you and the civil penalties. It's big time, you know. And again, it's like you said, it's not just about having a manual. It's not just about having a manual that's filled out. But even the OCR, which is essentially the HIPAA police, they even say that, okay, cool, you got a manual, cool, you filled it out. But the fact that you haven't done ongoing training is just as bad as not even having one, which, you know, I think that's insane. How could it be? But they're like, well, things change, you know, you got to do this, you got to do that. And what I found, Todd, is it's not, the reason it's so complicated and sometimes seems like rocket science, I guess, if you will, because it's not at all, is only because most of us don't realize what it is we need to do. And once it gets put into a you know, like a format or an explanation, it's like, oh, okay, I can do that. It's not that big a deal, you know, especially once it gets set up. You do the ongoing, you know, like we do monthly HIPAA training every single month in the program. But anyways, yeah, it's just something that we have to do, you know. And we want our doctors, you know, like when we go to the dentist, we don't want our information being stolen. We want to make sure that they're protecting our valuable personal health information, or PHI.
Sure.
And, you know, that's really what it's about.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Well, main thing for everyone watching this, because Perry's got to get going, and so do I. We want to keep this short for you. We want to leave a lot left for when Perry's going to be going through and presenting and teaching in person at our impact event, impact number 7. So this is like the 5th one you've come out to or something like that, Perry. Is that so February 17th through 21st, we're doing, technically it's a 5-day event. It's half day Wednesday, all day Thursday, Friday, Saturday, half day Sunday. Dr. Perry's going to be presenting, I believe, on Friday, but he'll be there for at least a couple of the days. And that's all of our presenters, even if they're not going to be there for the entirety of that, because that's a long span. They're there for a couple of days to help out, get to know everyone, and answer questions, engage in conversations. That's one of the most beneficial things of these in-person events that you can't do through a video, is that being there in person, those conversations you have on breaks or in the hall, or, hey, I have this concern about this, what do you think? That level of networking is what makes this in-person thing so important. And fortunately, just in the nick of time, Idaho just put us back to a lesser stage of restrictions. And now we are deemed by the powers that be to have meetings of 50 people or less, which is great, because this meeting we're probably going to have about 40 people out total, with staff and presenters and clinics coming and whatnot. So we'll have a great turnout. It's going to be an awesome event. I'm really excited for it. I'm so grateful that you're going to be coming out and traveling out here, Dr. Perry, presenting, joining us yet again. It's always great to see you. You've been very generous with everything you've done for our doctors. And something I'll just remind everyone of, inside of Move Now Chiropractors, Dr. Perry's in there. If you have a question, it's a basic question, tag him. Just tag in, you know, type in at start typing Perry, Perry, and his name will pop up and you can ask a question. Now, he does that out of the kindness of his heart. He has a program called Fearless Chiropractor, which is a fraction of what I used to pay for a compliance program back in the day. And at some point, Perry, you're going to need to raise your rates because you're just giving away what you do, which I appreciate. I'm not complaining, but it's extremely valuable for what you charge. So I appreciate you doing that, which I think makes it so available for so many chiropractors who maybe are not doing this because they're like, oh, it's another expense. But it's like one of the most important insurance policies that you need to get for your clinic is having a guy like Perry on board. But anyway, he's going to be out for this event. We're still having people sign up to come out, even though we're 2 weeks out. Plane tickets are still fairly inexpensive. So go to impact.movenowyou.com and you can register. You can check out the lineup of all the other speakers. We have an amazing lineup. This is probably going to be the only event to this extent this year. We're going to have a couple more events, I'm sure, but they'll probably be a little bit smaller. So this is going to be a great one to kick it off, especially with everyone being so, pent up with all the COVID restrictions and whatnot. People are just getting, ready to get out in person and meet and start getting back to a more normal life. Idaho is, I think, as normal as it gets in the United States right now. So come out to Freedom USA, otherwise known as Meridian, Idaho. It's going to be awesome. Any closing words on that, Dr. Perry?
Yeah, we encourage everybody to get out there. Meridian's beautiful. What you teach and the presenters there are absolutely amazing. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Todd is one of the most sincere, genuine chiropractors in the business, not just for his patients, but for us as chiropractors, what he teaches. I recommend him so high. I mean, his sincerity, his gratitude, his honesty. I mean, he does it for the right reasons. And I appreciate him for that. And it's one of the reasons I think we're still, talking and hanging out and coming out to each other's events. There's a lot of congruency there. So I appreciate you, Todd.
Cool. Well, thanks for saying that. I appreciate you as well. Everything you said about me, I feel the same way about you too. And so
Thank you.
it's nice, and not to take away from what we said, but I will end our bromance and we'll see you again in person when you come out here and everyone else. Right, it's just me and Perry being real. I mean, we connected because of a podcast that we did. We had a conversation. It was nice to find someone else, like when I met Perry, and just knowing his character. And I like to think of myself as someone too that likes to give more than I get. And when you have two people like that getting together, and especially when we can collaborate for other doctors that we train and help out, it just makes for a great training environment and a great combination of energy. So look forward again to seeing you. Register, ask questions, comment, reach out to us if you have anything. We'll let you know more about the event, any concerns you may have. And if you can't make it out in person for some reason, we hate that you can't make it out. We are going to have a live stream option. We hired a crew to come in for 5 days, live stream the entire event. So if you want access that way, reach out and we can send you a link and show you how that works as well. So that'll be cool. All right, Dr. Perry, thanks again for joining me.
All right, buddy.
And we'll see you next time. Everyone else, over and out. We'll see you at Impact.